All right, ladies and gents, let's go to it. We got news coming out. NFP is going to be the biggest news event coming up this week. There are other events, but they're really not that important. And before I move forward, don't forget, guys, the Labor Day special is still going on. So if you guys want any of the trading systems, they're only 99 bucks. For the Simplicity system, just use code 99. For the Ocean Wave, just use code 99. For the Simplicity scanner, which I highly suggest you get because I use that all the time, it's only 99. Use code HOLIDAY. And for the Too Easy system, it's only 49 bucks. Okay. So again, you can get all of those links right here at superezforex.com. All right, let's get to the charts, guys. All right, so here's the deal. Before we even look at these charts, let's start with gold. And I'm going to tell you why gold, I'm starting with it because gold is reactive to global events. Okay. Let me find gold real quick. Here we go. Gold is highly reactive to global events. And so basically, I'm going to go to the 4 hour time frame and show you guys. Right here, you can see that it's double topping off right here, and we'll see whether it's going to continue to push up higher or not. This is where it landed on Friday. So, it could push higher and higher and higher. We did see this little shape right here, this little pattern, and I'll draw this out for you guys. That's where it was. And go here. Actually, let me go to a blank chart. Let's go blanky, blanky, stanky, blanky. All right, I'm going to go a stanky, blanky on you. All right, show you guys. This is what we were seeing uh, during the week, and it was unclear what the market was going to do. And we'll just stretch it right there. You can see it was bouncing off. Okay. I don't know why these things are here because they're in the way. Let me pause this. Well, actually, y'all can still see it. So anyway, here's the point where we was expecting resistance, but you can see it broke through. So that means this thing could push up and retest this level up here because what it's doing is reacting to the U.S. invading Venezuela. And here's the funny thing about Venezuela, this Venezuela situation. I know that Trump is saying that they're doing bringing a war on terror, and I get that. But what people think he's really trying to do is take over the oil over there as well, because Venezuela is one of the largest oil producers in the world, and so therefore, if we control that, then it brings prices of oil down and control over oil. Whoever controls the oil controls a lot of money, basically. So that's what they say. So anyway, that's what gold is looking like. It did break through. So we have to see whether it's going to respect this previous level right here, which is where it left off at. Let me do this. So this is where it left off at. But you can see here was the high, which is why there was a lot of stop outs. So we got to go all the way back to here and see whether it's going to respect that level or not. So we got to go out to the daily to actually see it. So maybe it'll push and go up to this level, but it did break through on this prior level here. So we have to see how this goes, guys. It's going to be an interesting week. NFP is going to be on Friday, so that's the main kahuna. All right, let's get through some of these other pairs. Right here, I don't see much, and I'm going to run through and tell you guys straight up which ones I'm not seeing much on. This one is creeping up, but I do believe it'll probably push higher because what does the market do on Sundays and Mondays? It continue into the same direction it was in. So since we clearly see that the AUD is in an uptrend, I do believe it will stay in that uptrend. Let's go to Ocean Wave and get a verification of that on the 1 hour, and you can see that Ocean Wave is still saying up, up in a way. Now we may get a pushback, a pullback, a temporary pullback, but then Ocean Wave, you see, is still saying up, up in the way. So for me personally, I think it was should stick to the up in the way at least for the next day or two. And let me do this so we can sometimes do a side by side comparison. All right, and so AUD is going to be an up day, in my personal opinion. Let's go here, put this, and I'm going to take off these supply and demand zones so we can see price action a little more clear, just for what it is without so much noise. All right, so that's AUD without the supply and demand zone. So you can see it stopped right there. Now it can pull back and then push higher, but we'll see how that plays out. This is what it looks like on the 4. If it pushes higher, then we're looking at it going up to the 65, 670 range right up here, which is going to retest this level right here. Bing, bing, bing. There is where it may go if it breaks through. Okay. If it turns around and does the boogie down, then that's great. But I don't really believe it, me personally. I think it's going to continue its uptrend, but we'll see how the market plays. All right. This one here is in the chop, chop, chop. Nothing there. And when I say chop, chop, chop for new viewers, see this up and down, up and down, up and down. That means don't trust it. Move on to something else. All right. So we got an uptrend here. It is respecting this resistance level right here on the 4 hour. Okay, let's check the 1 hour. Okay, it did turn around, but again, as you can clearly see, it is in an uptrend. So again, this is one of those situations again where it can stop here and do a pull down. And I see it's doing a hard slant pattern. You guys know how I feel about slant patterns. They always go. See, look, slant, go up, 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 up. Then you get your drop. Look at this. Up, 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 slant, drop, slant, drop, slants up, drop. So we do have a huge slant pattern right here bouncing off a year, but I need plenty of confirmation just to make sure that this is going to be, and that would be what I would do. I would just draw this trend line right here. And the moment you get a closed candle below this range right here, and I'll go to the 1 hour so you guys can see it. See that uptrend? And as soon as it stops bouncing off my trend line and you get a closed candle and you get a 15-minute confirmation arrow, then I would believe it. Other than that, I don't believe it just yet. Okay. So for me, I do believe that AUD, JPY can come down this week, but not right away. I don't trust it just yet. Same thing with this one. Now I don't see anything. And it's got a chop fest right here, mini chop fest. It's sloppy. Keep it moving. Yeah, this pair here is very interesting. It's in a very, very choppy zone. If you go to the daily, you can see better what I'm talking about, and I'll draw it out for you guys. See right here? This is what it's doing. So it is, here's the top of it, and it's just in the chop, 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 chop sideways market right now. So therefore, it's really nothing you can do with this until it breaks out of this zone to the downside, okay? So I wouldn't mess with it, to be honest with you, if it was me. All right, this one here is sitting on strong support and it's created a slant pattern across the top. So when you see these slant patterns, it can continue down, or what it may do is sit on this support level right here and then pop up and give you yourself a little upside movement. Okay, so we'll see how that plays out, but I'm kind of cautious on this one, on further going down with this slide to the side, because again, guys, slant patterns always pop up, and that thing to pop up out of blue, but we'll see how it plays out. Okay, but going back, just so you guys can see this, it's sitting on a very, very strong support level. Go back to Euro NZD. See this strong support level? You can see it right here on the 1 hour time frame where it's just constantly retesting this. So if it breaks through here, you got further down movement. But if it's bounced from here, I expect it to bounce up and give us a move to the upside. So you can see that very, very strong support level, and it may pop up. Okay. But again, this is before the market opens. It could gap in one direction or another. The market could do whatever. So we're just going to keep an eye on it. All right. Keep an eye. Just same thing here. Consolidating, may give a little pullback and then continue to the downside. And that's Euro CAD. Euro JPY, it's actually just choppy sideways. So just ignore it. Never try to jump into these. See, chop, chop fest, chop, chop fest, chop, 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 chop. It's just the Donald Trump market. I'm just going to call it what it is. It's a Donald Trump market. And when there's uncertainty in the market will give you a lot of sideways patterns because it's just a chop fest. Now, I'm not saying that he's a bad guy, good guy. I'm not into politics. I'm just saying, when certain presidents come in, the markets will either be smooth or they're going to be turbulent. Okay. And when you have a president who's highly active doing things that's globally impacting the world, then you're going to have a lot of chop. If you got a president who's not doing much and letting the world just roll as it is, then you're going to have a pretty smooth market because it's no uncertainty. Okay. It's not based on uncertainty. Okay. So with our current president, he does moves and he can come out the blue with something and it causes uncertainty. So as a result of that, as traders, we don't get into the political side of it. We just go and take a look at the charts and say, okay, how smooth are they going to be running? Okay. How smooth. So it's not a political point of view. It's just telling you as it is. Okay. So again, here, same thing. Let's look at it from the daily. From the daily time frame, we got a head up here. Looks like we got some shoulder blades over here, and this is the level right there. So up in there, this range, I'll just say this range right here is where the shoulders are. You got your head up here. So hopefully this thing pushes up higher and retests this level. If it goes up a little bit higher, that's even better. But I will be looking for sales to the downside on this trade. And you can see bing like that. Okay, bing, like that. Okay, now when it does a pullback for a breather, then I would hop in on the sell. This is where the scanner is going to come into play, because that scanner is going to tell you when to get in. So the next time you get a sell arrow, I would only be really, in my opinion, I would really be focusing on taking sell arrows on the JPY. I'm sorry, on GBP, USD, or GU. Sell arrows. Okay, all right. See how this drop? Bing, bing. Now this one is hitting a strong support level. This is GCAD. Canadian dollar has to do with oil. All this stuff is having to do with oil, you guys. All of this stuff is going on. All right. So anyway, it is hitting support. So it can break through here and go down a little bit further, or it may bounce from here. So I'm not sure. So I will leave that one alone. Let's GNZD. Same thing. Sloppy, 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 sloppy. See, just chop, chop, chop. So you don't want to force trades, guys. I'm just telling you, take it easy, take it easy, take it easy. All right, so this is interesting here. We see in this, and I'll draw this one line, and you guys will see it right away. Or better yet, let me draw this range. That'll be better for you. Supply and demand zone range. If I was to just manually draw it myself, that's the range is bouncing in between. Bing, 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 bing. Sometimes it'll come out of there, but it'll still come back in this range. But either way it goes, the question is, it's sitting right at this price range right here. And let me move this blue line down. Here will be the question: will you support this area and come in here? What I would think about doing is, since it's constantly coming in this range and then eventually bouncing out, I would wait for a 15-minute arrow buy arrow for a pullback. That's what I would do. So as you can see, we did get a buy arrow here, and the thing, a little sloppy, but you got yourself 34 pips. Because once it hits into that range, it just seems to want to bounce out of there, for whatever reason. Here's that line that I drew. So as soon as I see a buy arrow, yeah, I might take that to the upside. Not guaranteed anything, but it's hard to gauge this, but it is bouncing within that range. So, and I'll draw a top line and the bottom line. Okay. And let me just put it on the blank, so we don't see so much noise. Okay. So if I tighten this up, and I just do some lines, support lines. All right, so this is where it is right here. Okay, you can see right there, boom, 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 boom. So this has been respected level. We also have this level right here, bing, bing, bing. So in between there. So if it breaks through this level, then we're looking at coming all the way down to the 76,773 range. But if it bounces out of there, then where can it bounce to? Let's go upstairs. And we see it can come all the way up to this range. And that means it'll bounce out of this range, as it did right here, bounced out of here, came down, retested it again, and came all the way up and hit here. So it's just a matter of whether it'll retest this range right here, guys. And then if so, it may bounce up and hit right back up to the 79,808. If not, then we're looking at it coming all the way down to the 76,773s. Okay, 76,773s. Or we can even test this range, which is a little bit closer, which would be right there, and that will put it at the 77,455, 77,455, 1.77455. That's what we're looking at. Okay, and that's the Euro AUD. All right, let's go back to the charts and let's keep it moving. Let's keep the party going. Okay, same thing with this one, hard slant pattern. Me personally, I'm going to be looking for it to, and it's touching on the 38.2 Fibonacci level on the daily, and it has given a hard slant to the downside. So I would be waiting for a buy arrow, and there we go. See how this buy arrow came in? So it depends on how the market opened, but I would be looking to be a buyer this week off of this support right here. That's what I would be doing on GA. Let's look at UCAD. UCAD. All right, UCAD. I do see it sitting on a strong support area. Whether it'll stay there or not, because it's the Canadian dollar, I don't know. But you can see right here, it was respecting it going across. So that's where it's sitting at. Let's go to the daily, and it's uptrend, and it did pull back, and it's pulling back on support. So I do believe it can jump to the upside. It can possibly jump to the upside because this is an uptrend, so it looks like it just may be a temporary pullback. That's what it might be. Let me clean up these charts a little bit. Hold on, wait a minute, so we can get up in it. Right there. All right, so you can see shot up, pull back, boom, and pull back, and now it's retesting where my line is again. So therefore, with that being said, yes, it could possibly be a bounce to the upside. I will wait for a buy arrow on the 15-minute for a buy. Okay, that's what I'll be looking for on this week on UCAT is buy trades. All right, don't forget NFP is on Friday, so you want to be out of all your trades by then. All right, so this one I don't see anything that's a freaking chop fest. This one I don't see anything beautiful about it, and that one this is one that's pretty beautiful. This one right here, you can see it popped all the way up to these ranges, and it's just hovering there. Now it may come all the way up here. That's why I have my stop up here in this range right here, which is just 50 pips. But if not, then it's respecting this range so far, which is okay with me. I'll draw the line, and you'll see it. And you can see many times right here when it comes near or up to this level, it drops out. Boom, 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 boom. So right here is where it got stuck, which is why I entered in on this trade. From the 4 hour, you can see it. And therefore, in the 15-minute, you can see right there was, I got in a little bit late on it, but, you can see it was heading to the downside. So that's why I'm expecting a downside move. You see, I got in on the 1 hour arrow for a downside move. And so therefore that's what I'm expecting is a downside move. If not, then hey, I'm not worried about it. I'll move on. Next trade. No fade, next trade. Okay. No fade, next trade. All right. Did we hit everything? We did. All right. So anyway, you guys, if you have any questions or whatever, let me know. By the way, one more thing, let me show you guys this. I was keeping tabs on what have we done for our futures Asian session because Jeannie trades the New York session and I trade the Asian session. And as you can see for the Asian session, just last week we were 8-2. So we did very, very well. And this one that lost on the 6C, which is the Canadian dollar, funny thing is, guess what? A couple hours later, we were 100% correct on the bias, and that thing shot up to the absolute moon. It was, look, let me show y'all 6C. Oh, well, I'm not in it. I'm not logged in. I'll do it another time. But either way it goes, outside those two losses, which really, if we would have waited a couple of more hours, we would have been huge in profits. We would have been 10-0, but 8-2 is not bad last week. So if you want to be part of that, you know how to get to us. Go to futrix.com. So our websites are superezforex.com and futrix.com and supereasycopycat.com. All right, you guys. So that's pretty much it. That's a wrap for me. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the rest of my afternoon. I hope this video helped you guys, and I'll see you on the inside this week.